What's up guys, today we've got the Baofeng UV-13 Pro V2 in front of us, and this is no ordinary radio because it is the V2 version. What is V2 exactly? We don't know. You look on AliExpress website when you buy one of these things and there's a V1 version and a V2. The only thing that seems to be immediately obvious is that the V2 has got a bigger battery pack and also it has a higher output power as well. But we're not 100% sure on that one because nobody seems to really know. However, it is the latest version, so that's what's arrived here last week in the UK to me. And I think all in, including shipping, I paid $45 for this because unfortunately now, if you live inside the EU or the UK, there is tax applied on top of the price that you see on AliExpress website, as is the case with a lot of new Chinese websites these days. They've got some kind of a deal going on with the government where they collect the tax before you even receive your radio. So it's just one of those things, it's unavoidable. However, it's still very good value at $45. For that money, I got the speaker mic set and the USB programming cable as well, so I didn't think that was too bad. But anyway, going back to the radio, yeah, it's another Baofeng, so of course I'm not going to go through every single feature that there is out there, but it is a very nice looking transceiver. It's available in a number of different colours, including red, orange, yellow and black. And this green colour. Now, I chose the green because I thought it looked rather professional. It's quite a nice colour if you're out and about, like a sort of military style green, not too garish or anything. Good for walking and nature trails and that kind of thing as well. So I just like the look of the green. It looks quite professional to me. So if I was having to choose a colour, I'd probably go for either the black or the green model. It seems to be quite popular actually, looking at other people's reviews out there as well. But yeah, I didn't really fancy the yellow one at all, but that's just personal preference. If you wanted to set up a whole bank of these radios, you might want different colour codes for different departments if you're using them for work and that kind of thing. But yeah, it's a very nice looking little transceiver, and in fact it seems very well made for the money. The plastics are really solid, the buttons are firm, nice keypad as well, very legible to see in the dark as well, but it has a very nice backlight on it. You can't really see out here, but it is pure daylight, but as you can see there, it's a brilliant white LED backlight on this model. And in fact, if anything, it's a little bit too bright in the night time. And that leads me to another thing about the radio, in that there's no dimmer control or anything. You can't change the backlighting levels or the keypad, so it really is in your face at night time. But as you can see, even now in broad daylight, you can actually see the LED lighting there kicking in, and it does seem quite good. But yeah, so it's got a proper volume knob on top of the radio. It's got the obligatory flashlight, which may or may not be to your liking, and there's also a light on top of there for TX and RX, which goes red and green accordingly. It isn't that bright actually, but it's sort of like set down inside the radio itself, but it does the job anyway. Looking on the back of the radio, this is your battery pack. It is USB Type-C chargeable. Now, the USB-C socket is actually on the battery pack itself, so if you were to purchase additional battery packs, you could actually charge them separate from the radio. Now, this is the first Baofeng that I've seen that ships without any sort of desktop charger in the box. It does have charge pads on the rear, which would suggest that a desktop charger is available, but I've yet to see one that actually fits this radio, so maybe there is one in the making, I don't know for sure. But the only good thing about this being USB-C is obviously you can charge it on most mobile phones, iPad chargers, anything really that uses USB-C, which is a great thing. It's better than the micro USB connector, that's for sure. And of course it does mean you can detach the battery pack completely from the radio. So if you've got a number of these battery packs, you could actually charge them up totally separate from the radio, which means you've always got one available as a spare. So I think that's quite a good thing really. Belt clip seems okay really. It's held in with 2 metal screws at the top of there. I've just assembled that and put it on for the review just before I did this. And it does seem quite good. I mean, it is plastic, so it is what it is for the money, but yeah, it seems alright. Antenna wise, it's SMA female, at least I think it is. Yeah, there you go, standard sort of thing there, dual band antenna supplied with it. And so before I go any further, I better just mention the frequency range of the radio. It's pretty much standard, 136 to 174 megahertz, but on the 400 megahertz band, it goes up to 520, which may or may not be of interest in some countries. I've programmed this up as usual with the PMR 446 test frequencies. That's 16 channels that are available throughout Europe that you can use license free, but technically, as you know, this radio would not be type approved because it gives out more power than the PMR 446 specification, and you're not allowed a removable antenna. But if you keep it on low power, I don't think anybody's going to really complain too much. But It is actually quite a powerful radio. It's got two power settings available in the software, low and high, and we're going to show that very shortly. Now, one of the things that I'm skeptical about on these Chinese radios is they claim 10 watts output. I'll be very surprised if this radio is 10 watts, because most of them we've tested in the past have claimed this, that and the other, and they've actually been a lot lower in terms of specification when we put them on a power meter. However, I have seen one or two posts about this radio and it is surprising. So we'll get down to that in a few minutes time and actually show you. But before that, just another little thing that I want to show you on this side. We've got the standard Kenwood speaker mic jack configuration. So that's nice and easy. So if you've got any existing accessories, you can plug them straight into here. I actually programmed the radio using this. Sadly, although there's a USB-C port on the actual radio itself, on the battery pack itself, it's not able to program the radio. So you are limited by the Kenwood speaker mic jack. But most people have got one of those leads kicking around. If you haven't, they're only a few dollars when you buy the radio anyway. And that means you can then PC program it. Now, although I got the proper cable to program this radio, I haven't actually taken it out of the packaging yet, and the reason why is my old Kenwood serial port cable actually does work with this, so it's nice to know that it does still work absolutely fine. So let's take a look in the box at some of the other accessories that you might get. So obviously I bought this one with some extras. Obviously this is the USB to Kenwood style jack programming cable. Not even taken out of the box, but it's pretty much standard. I thought it was only about an extra $2, so I thought I might as well ship one with it just in case my old cable didn't work, but in this case it works absolutely fine. Also got the Baofeng speaker mic, which is perhaps a really good investment. It is kind of useful really, it gives you a proper mic you can grip while you're putting the radio in a bag or somewhere else like that. Nice long cable on it as well. Just take it out and show you it. There you go. And it's got a nice little light on it that illuminates when you press the PTT button as well. That goes straight into the speaker mic jack there. So it's like, would work with any of the other Baofeng series radios and quite a lot of others on the market as well. So I really, really like that as well. That's really cool. Also, what's left over in here, there is a CD with some software on that I never use because I haven't got a CD drive on my computer. I just downloaded the software, which we'll come on to a bit later on in the review. There's pretty much a standard sort of very, very light as a feather type switch mode power supply that I'm probably never going to use because again it's EU 2-pin that they sent me, and of course it's just the same as any old phone charger really, so you just plug in your phone charger if you've got one. I use an Android phone, so I've got USB-C anyway, so that's not a problem. There's also an earpiece as well, which is pretty much standard kit in most of the Chinese radios. You get one of those, and of course one of those, and one of these as well, USB-C to USB cable if you need to charge the radio. But again, I've not even opened it out of the box because I've already got one on my mobile phone that I've just been using to charge it up, so literally anything would do the trick. So what else do you get that's really amazing with this radio? Well, you get a user manual, and although that's not that exciting in its own right, it is actually quite a well written one. In fact, looking through it, it's probably one of the best that I've ever seen, so I don't know who's written this manual for them, but they've certainly upped the game when it comes to giving you some useful information about the radio. It's all very clear English, does explain all the functions pretty well. So I'm quite impressed because sometimes you just get a couple of sheets of paper in the box with these things, but every option on the menu is actually described in quite good detail. And for once, the English seems quite decent, so hats off to Baofeng, they've really upped the game on this particular radio. So, like I promised, we're not going to go through every single option in the menus because you've seen radios like this that are similar before, but I'm going to highlight a few new things that are in here that I haven't seen previously in a Baofeng radio. So, one of them is the ability to define a scan range in VFO, which is really, really handy. Let me show you. So, first of all, you'll need to go into menu, and you can see there's an option 19 that says scan range. Now, we want to drop out into VFO mode before we try doing this because we're in memory mode at the moment. So what I'm going to do is press exit there, hold down the menu key to switch the radio to VFO mode. There you go. So we've got the two VFOs showing. And what we're going to do now is we're going to press menu again. And as you can see, scan range has appeared. And it's scanning between 400 and 470 megahertz at the moment. So what we're going to do is we're going to program the UK marine band frequencies in to do a scan. So if we go... I was too slow then, let me just do it again. I was talking, you see, so I just lost that one. But anyway, let's just go into menu and then 156, and then we're going to end it at 160. Then we just press menu to confirm again, and that's now programmed the VFO frequency range. So if I exit that now, and then press down the hash key to keep scanning, watch what happens. There you go. It's now scanning 156 through to 160 as we programmed. So I think that's a pretty cool idea. So it can actually make this more like a real scanning radio then. So it will actually just scan round in that frequency range. Now the other thing that I didn't show you as well is it'll scan with whatever step you've programmed in there. So if we just stop that for a minute, I think we're actually already there. So we just need to hold down the hash key again. Excuse the noise of the plane going past at the moment. It's quite a busy day out here today. We've had dogs barking, ice cream vans, and there you go, there's the ice cream van. Unbelievable when you try and do a review somewhere, but anyway. Let's just go into menu, and we're going to head down to step, which is option number 1. So as you can see there, we can change it to 6.25 to 12.5. I think in marine case we can maybe use 25 kilohertz, and that'll speed up our scan. So if we now hit the hash key on there to put it back in scan mode, there you go, it's scanning in 25 kilohertz steps anyway, and there you go. So that's kind of a useful little feature there really, I think. Now here's another really cool feature on this Baofeng UV-13 Pro. I've not seen it before on any other Baofeng radios either, so it's really good, this one. So if you go into memory mode like we're in now, just brighten the screen up there so you can see it. There we go. So I've got PMR8 and PMR12. If you only wanted to have one VFO, you can put sync on. And what sync does in the options is basically it shows the channel number, the name, and also the frequency all on the display, so you get all three things at once on there. So it's like a single VFO mode but with more information, which I think is actually kind of useful in this case. But let's go into menu item number 42. So it's there, you see. Sync is currently turned off, so you just press menu, go down on the arrow keys, turn sync on. That's saved. Now if I exit, notice the display now, it says PMR08 446.09375, and it's also got the channel number of 008 in the corner as well, which is really good. I think that is kind of a useful feature. It does give you much more information on the screen, and if you're not bothered about having the two VFOs showing there, you've got all the information on one screen. So I think that's a mode to run this transceiver in. It's really nice if you've got a lot of memories programmed and you want to see the frequency as well, which is really good. So as you can see, it works really well across the range of frequencies. So those two things alone are different from previous Baofeng transceivers. Everything else is pretty much standard. It's got an FM radio built in, you've got a flashlight, you can program these side keys using the PC software and everything. So apart from that really, and the extra memories and everything, you know, you should be pretty familiar with how this all works, and you don't need a PC to program it. You can do it all through the menu. Obviously that's kind of a bit cumbersome in some respects, but you know, that is how it is with these things. So we'll do an audio test on the radio, and then you can make up your own mind as to what you think of the audio quality coming out of it. Personally, I think it's some of the best audio I've heard for a long time from a handheld radio, so I am really impressed with that. So what I'll do is I'll just put the mic down near the radio, and then you can have a listen yourselves and see what you think. This is an audio test from the Baofeng UV-13 Pro V2, 543211235. Audio test 543211235 on PMR 446. So we've got the Shawcom SW102 here for a power test, and we're going to give it a quick blast of RF into this dummy load on here. Hopefully you guys can see the screen, but it's quite reflective outside there, but I think we've got it on the camera there. Okay, so this is in high power on 430 megahertz, which is the start of the amateur radio band really. So let's have a little look and see what we get on high power on this. Remember, the radio is quoted as being 10 watts output, so let's give it a try. Whoa, so what we're seeing there, seeing 7.21 watts actually, so that's better than I thought, to be honest with you. I expected it to be around 5 watts, but no, we've got about 7 watts of output power there. So what we'll do is we'll carry on in the UHF spectrum, and we'll key 400 megahertz in exactly. We'll go 400 megahertz into the dummy load here. So we're not causing any interference on any frequencies or anything. Let's just key the mic and see what we get there then. And wow, that is pretty amazing actually, 9.1513 watts. So just over 9 watts output power there into the dummy load at 400 megahertz. So let's go to 450. Let's try that again. So I'm quite impressed with this Baofeng. There we go. So at 450 megahertz, we're still getting 7 watts of RF out of there, which is better than I thought it would be on high power. So let's go up to 480, say, for example. And we can see as we get higher up towards the top end of 500, the RF's tailing off a little bit. We've got 4.23 watts there. And if we go up to the extreme, 520 megahertz, it tails off a lot. Look at that, 0.01 watt, hardly any output power at all on the RF. It struggles when it gets above 500 megahertz, but there again, that's kind of to be expected. So let's drop down to 136 now. So we're going to go all the way to 136. And let's have a little look there. So we're getting, what, 5.93, just under 6 watts output power there, which is pretty damn impressive, I'd say, really. That's on 136. Let's go to the start of the amateur radio bands, about 145 megahertz on 2 meters. We're getting 7 watts out there on 2 meters, which is pretty impressive. Let's go all the way up to 170. So we're getting towards the top end of the VHF spectrum, 7.32. So to be honest with you, across the VHF range, the power output's pretty consistent there. I think the maximum it goes to is 174, so might as well key there on 174 and just see what we're getting. Yeah, 7.69 watts again, so I'm pretty impressed really with this radio. It's doing better than I thought it would do, but mostly with the Chinese radios, they tend to over-exaggerate on the output power levels. So they claim up to 10 watts, and it nearly did hit 10 watts at the bottom end of 400 megahertz. So yeah, we got around 9 watts out, so that's pretty much a win in my book. It's certainly going to average around 6 or 7 watts really on most of the things that you're going to use it on, I'd say, so that's pretty good. Let's do one more quick test if I can do, just down to TX power. Let's go to low power now, just out of interest, and go to 145 megahertz again. So the low power setting on this radio is just over 1 watt there, around 145 megahertz. And on 430, which is your 70 SEMS band, 2.55 on low power, so 2.5 watts on low power as well. So yeah, it's pretty good even on the low power setting there, so I'm pretty impressed with this radio. It does better than I thought it would do. But anyway, there you go. So let's go and have a look at some on-air tests. Let's go and see what we can pick up on the radio. Maybe do some checks with a few people, see if it's working really well, see what the audio is like and everything. And then we'll come back for some conclusions. But to me, this is a winner so far. It's one of the best Baofengs that I've tested, so very good. So Baofeng UV-13, we're going to give it a test. There's been a bit of activity up on PMR.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
Somebody on 14 a moment.
Yeah, that's not a bad idea, is it? You're about co-phasing, you mean? Get another one, and so both work at the same time, co-phasing it.
Yeah, break.
Ready, monitoring channel 14.
Yeah, anybody monitoring PMR 14 at this moment? Anybody monitoring PMR 14?
Oh, there's somebody on. I've seen somebody's on the side, Ben.
Yeah, break.
Break, go on.
Yeah, have you got a copy on Simon in East Yorkshire near Flamborough Head?
Yeah, Simon, East Yorkshire, Flamborough Head. Yeah, I've got you, mate, no problem. 2 bars, mate. Clear radio 5, but you've got a voice sign, Spoony. I'm parked up, mate, at Ashow Rock, Derbyshire.
Wow, that's a really good copy, that is. I'm just using a Baofeng UV-13. 7 watts output on this little handheld. Just stood on the cliff top path near Flamborough Head, yeah?
4 or 5, you're on there, mate, you're banging over here. Say, I'll get you £2, mate. Well, two lights, mate. 2 lights and a good radio 5. There's a few of us on. Give a shout for Rod.
Yeah, no problem. I've spoke to Rod a few times. I should be able to get Rod from up here. Yeah, Mr. Rod, are you receiving?
No problem at all, Simon. Postcode to me, bud.
Wow, I can't believe I'm making it into Derbyshire from just up here on a little handheld. I'm just testing this out for the first time. It's a Baofeng UV-13 rod.
It's working well. Working well, Simon. Your spoon is cheating a bit. It's on a 15 element beam at about 100 watts.
Ah, Roger, yeah. Well, I'll tell you what, he's probably beaming towards this area, I'm guessing, anyway, because his signal's end-stopping to me on this little handheld.
He's beaming northeast.
Yeah, Roger, so he's up this way then, really, yeah. Yeah, well, it's working really well, yeah, Spoony. What do you reckon to that, then? Pretty good, yeah?
Oh, yeah, not off, mate. You want a handle? No, you're paying that, mate. No, you're paying that. Oh, God's sake, you can't otherwise. Well, see you alright. Yeah, you're paying that, mate, on a handle. It's so good, mate. Keep that one, mate. Yeah, it's working fantastic.
Yeah, I will do. I've just got this one this week, actually. Just arrived from China about a week ago, so I'm just doing some tests and that, and I do a video for YouTube later on as well, but that's fantastic work, that is. I'm really chuffed. But there's another station on this channel just down the road from me. I don't know if you can hear him. Can you just try and listen out for him a minute? He's called John, and he's down at Beacon Farm, would you believe? So can I just give him a try, would you?
Yeah, no problem. Hang on, mate. Hang on, mate. I've got you.
Come on, John. Pin me ears back. Go again.
Yeah, John, go again. Rod's shouting you now. Can you not hear Rod?
Talked to you last week. I thought I'd come and bore you again this week as well. Give it a try. You're probably about the nearest. How are you receiving me?
Got you 0 and 1 there, John Roger.
Okay, yeah. I can hear you fine. You're nice and loud as normal.
Perfectly readable.
What I'll try and do, I'll just connect up the CRT and have a go with that one.
Yeah, well, you're certainly working, John, no worries at all. Simon, any copy?
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, John's just literally down the road from me. I must have walked past him on the handheld. I didn't know he was up here, but yeah, he's stopping up here for a little while. So he said he spoke to you last week.
He did, bless him. 0 and 1. That's another John Bridlington.
Yeah, incredible, really. They're all on tonight, like Rod. But yeah, I don't know. He's going to switch over his radio in a second. He's got a CRT Space U to try as well, yeah?
Okay, no worries. We'll stand by for him.
But yeah, well, thanks for letting me in anyway. I know this channel's quite busy with various people on, but Spoonie's booming through. I just can't believe that. It's amazing on a handheld.
Don't tell him that.
It's really, really good. I'll hand it back to you anyway for a minute, Rod. Let's see if we can get back into John there in a second.
Okie dokie, we might get him a bit better on Space U.
Okay, here's a super quick look at the programming software as promised. This is the UV-13 Pro software that's supplied by the seller. It's actually titled P15 UV, so I suspect it's used by a number of different other radios. So yeah, let me just show you it working anyway. So all you have to do is get your lead, plug it into the radio through the Kenwood style jack, select the right COM port for your machine, hit read from radio. Now I'm going to show you mine here. It's only got about 20 memories programmed in, but obviously the radio is capable of nearly 1,000 memory channels, so it does take a little bit longer than previous CPSs to read these kind of things, but it does go a pretty good speed, really, I'd say. But anyway, there's no real surprises in the software. If you've seen radios like this being programmed before, then you'll be familiar with it straight away. This does seem a little bit better designed than some of the ones that I've used in the past anyway. Everything seems to function correctly. The only thing that always frustrates me about the Chinese software is the fact that you can't move memory channels up or down. There's no easy way to reorder them once you've actually programmed them into the radio. So here's hoping that somebody takes on board the Chirp project and gets it into Chirp, because that'll make it a lot easier in the future if we can just use that piece of software instead of the proprietary stuff like this. But yeah, that said, everything works okay. As you can see, it's nearly finished reading there on the memories. So let's take a look and see what we've got. So I've only got 20 odd memories in my radio, so we're just going to go over to channel. And as you can see, there we are. I've got the PMR 446 frequencies programmed in, and you can make any adjustments you like in the normal format. It's a bit like an Excel spreadsheet, really, where you can just toggle various features like low and high power, CT, CSS, etc. So very easy to use, you know, very familiar to most people, I would say. And then, of course, you have also got the general settings for the radio, like you can change the VFO modes, whether the memories show channel name or frequency, etc. Startup options, things like Roger beeps and that kind of stuff. So yeah, there's all kinds of stuff that goes on in there, and some advanced stuff for repeater users as well there. So yeah, all in all, it's not bad. There is also this thing called Frequency Auto, which lets you specify a start and end channel, and it'll populate a range in the table. So you could, for example, program all the 446 frequencies in and put a step interval in between, and it'll actually populate the entire channel database for you, so that's kind of like helpful for some people maybe, but not something that I'm really going to use, I don't think. But yeah, on the whole, that's it really. That's all you need to know about the software. It works, it's basic, it's functional, but I would suggest hopefully somebody will take on board the Chirp project and get it included into there. I noticed on AliExpress website it does say the radio is Chirp programmable, but I've yet to see how that's actually done. So if anybody knows, do leave me a comment on the video. But apart from that, yeah, that's all you need to know about it really. So my thoughts on this radio. For the money, it's absolutely brilliant. There is a couple of omissions that I'd like to have seen in this particular model, such as airband receive would have been really cool, which is in the Radtel RT490 that we reviewed recently, but you can't have everything. And also Bluetooth programmability would have been a great thing to have built into the radio as well, to manage all those 1,000 memory channels. However, for the price, we're looking at what, you know, like around $30 odd for the radio, plus a little bit for shipping maybe and the accessories. So like I say, I paid $45 including tax, I think it was, into the UK. But even so, even at that level of price range, it is incredible value for money. And even though it doesn't have the Bluetooth and the airband receive, we can forgive that. It is a pretty decent piece of kit. Now, like I say, it's available in a number of different colours. I'll drop a link on AliExpress so you can also see what it's like on there. And there's a few different suppliers on it as well, so you know, you take your pick really, whoever you want to go with. But yeah, it's nothing not to like really for the price. If you're looking for a reasonable price dual band handheld, obviously analog FM only, but if you just want to use it for PMR 446 or the local amateur repeaters and that kind of thing, it's absolutely fantastic. Good accessory support as well as usual from Baofeng, and there's loads of them about, the cheapest chips as they say. So yeah, definitely worth a look at. This new revision of the Baofeng is definitely worth the money, I would say. Until next time, see you later guys.